Everyone remembers the legends of 1964, but what about the muscle machines that time forgot? These 8 under-the-radar powerhouses packed a serious punch and flew way too low. 1. 1964 Dodge 330 Max Wedge. The 1964 Dodge 330 Max Wedge is an incredibly rare muscle car that flew under the radar for many years. It's easy to overlook this car because it wasn't marketed as a high-performance powerhouse in the way some of its competitors were. But it is no less impressive. With its powerful 426 cubic inch Max Wedge engine and its stock appearance, this car deserves much more attention than it has received. Under the hood, the 1964 Dodge 330 Max Wedge comes with a 420 cubic inch V8 engine, a true masterpiece of engineering. The engine features a 12.5:1 compression ratio, dual Carter carburetors, and a cross-ram intake manifold producing 425 horsepower. The Max Wedge engine was built for performance with rare cast-iron exhaust manifolds and a camshaft designed specifically for racing. The car's stock appearance might make you think it's just another vintage vehicle, but once you start it up, you'll understand the true potential hidden inside. In addition, the 4-speed manual transmission is another feature that sets this car apart. Dodge only produced about 60 Max Wedge cars with a manual transmission, making them even more sought after by collectors. This rare configuration, combined with a 4.1 gear ratio in the rear axle, ensures the Dodge 330 is quick off the line and has impressive acceleration. The A8334 Speed is built to handle the power of the Max Wedge engine, providing smooth shifting and reliability. The Dodge 330's chassis is mostly stock, but with a few performance upgrades like subframe connectors, it remains extremely well-suited for performance driving. The suspension is equipped with super stock springs, adding to its strength and stability, while the 3,340-pound body helps keep it manageable at high speeds. The car is also fitted with drum brakes all around, a feature that gives it an authentic vintage feel, though it may require some extra care during modern-day driving. One of the reasons the 1964 Dodge 330 Max Wedge is often overlooked is due to its understated design. It doesn't scream muscle car at first glance, with its basic appearance and lack of flashy exterior features. The car's wheels are mismatched, with skinny mag wheels up front and steel wheels at the back, which was typical for racing cars at the time. These subtle touches, like the body-colored steel wheels and the lack of mirrors or windshield wipers, give it a look that's appreciated by those who understand its true purpose. Inside, the Dodge 330 keeps it simple with bucket seats, a basic dashboard, and a classic racing steering wheel. It's not designed for luxury or comfort, but for the pure joy of driving. The addition of a roll cage, racing harnesses, and a Hurst shifter makes it clear that this car was built for the track, not just for show. Despite its incredible performance, the 1964 Dodge 330 Max Wedge remains a relatively unknown gem in the muscle car world. Its low production numbers, combined with its humble appearance, have kept it from being as recognized as other high-performance cars from the era. However, for those in the know, it's a true treasure with a racing pedigree that deserves more attention. 2. 1964 Mercury Comet Cyclone. The 1964 Mercury Comet Cyclone might be one of the most underrated muscle cars from its era. Despite its impressive features and promising performance, it remains relatively unknown today, overshadowed by other bigger names in the muscle car world. But once you look closer, you realize this compact car had more muscle than many expected. The 1964 Comet Cyclone was a game-changer for Mercury. For the first time, a small block V8 was added to the Comet lineup. The 289 cubic inch engine, paired with a 4-barrel carburetor, churned out 210 horsepower and 300 pounds per feet of torque, making it a very strong performer for its size. The car came with both 3- and 4-speed transmissions, giving buyers some control over the ride. The automatic transmission was replaced with the new multi-drive Merc-O-Matic, allowing for smoother shifting. With its upgraded engine, the Cyclone quickly made a name for itself in the performance car scene. It was not just about looks. This car had the power to back up its new style. The wider stance, quad headlights, and sleek body modifications gave the car a sporty, aggressive appearance. The removal of unnecessary chrome and flashes gave it a clean, almost minimalist look, while subtle tail fins in the back added a retro touch. These changes made the Cyclone stand out from the rest of the Comet models. Other Comet models, like the Caliente series, could be had with either a 6-cylinder engine or the smaller 260 cubic inch V8. But the 289 in the Cyclone was the standout. The addition of the V8 engine made it clear that Mercury was shifting focus toward performance, and the Cyclone was a key part of that change. However, despite the improvements in power and styling, the Cyclone didn't quite take off in popularity as expected. In its debut year, only 7,454 Cyclones were produced, and at a price of $2,655, it wasn't the cheapest option on the market. Its modest production numbers and lack of a major marketing push kept it from becoming as famous as some of its competitors. Even though the early Comet Cyclone was described as a spirited sprinting machine by some, it still didn't attract as much attention as it deserved. With all its features, the 1964 Mercury Comet Cyclone was a compact powerhouse that should have earned a bigger place in history. From its well-designed body to its powerful 289 cubic inch engine, this car had the makings of a true muscle car, but its early struggles with sales and popularity kept it from becoming a household name. 3. 1964 Plymouth Fury 426 Max Wedge. The 1964 Plymouth Fury 426 Max Wedge remains one of the most unknown and underrated muscle cars from the golden age of performance vehicles. Despite its powerful engine and rare status, this car didn't receive the attention it deserved. But when you take a deeper look at the car's features, it's easy to see why this car deserves a place in muscle car history. Now, let's talk power. The Max Wedge engine, which powered this Fury, was one of the most important performance engines of its time. It was a 426 cubic inch V8 with dual 4-barrel carburetors, sitting on a legendary cross-ram intake manifold. This design was made to improve airflow and maximize engine performance. The engine also featured factory cast-iron exhaust manifolds and aluminized pipes with bolt-on cutouts, allowing for quick changes at the track. All of this contributed to the car's powerful performance, making it a favorite among drag racers in the 1960s. What sets this Fury apart is that it wasn't just a raw racing machine. It was also a stylish, well-appointed car. The car came with a stunning red paint job that highlighted its aggressive lines and sporty features. The exterior had chrome trim and a unique grille design with vertical elements, making the Fury stand out wherever it went. It was built to impress, not just at the drag strip, but also on the street. Inside, the car didn't sacrifice comfort for performance. The black interior was far from basic. It came with bucket seats, a center console, and a dashboard with round gauges that added to its sporty feel. It even had heat, defrost, and a push-button radio, showing that it was made for both racing and daily driving. The attention to detail inside made it clear that Plymouth wanted this car to be more than just a race car. It was a luxury muscle car. The Plymouth Fury 426 Max Wedge was also equipped with a 4-speed manual transmission, backed by a Hurst shifter designed for fast gear changes on the track. The car's aggressive stance was further emphasized by period-correct, slotted aluminum wheels and wide tires, making it look ready to take on any challenge, whether on the street or the strip. Despite all these great features, the 1964 Plymouth Fury 426 Max Wedge was not widely known at the time and remains relatively unknown today. Its legacy is carried on by those who recognize the importance of the Max Wedge engine and the impact it had on Chrysler's performance history. 4. 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. Well, not many people today remember the 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. Even though it was one of the most powerful drag cars of its time, it stayed unknown to most because it was not made for daily driving. Built mainly to win races, the Thunderbolt was not advertised much, and only 100 were ever made. Most people never saw one on the road. From the very start, this car was made with one goal: to win on the drag strip. Ford took the smaller Fairlane body and stuffed it with a massive 427 cubic inch V8 engine. This engine, made for racing, was officially said to make 425 horsepower, but many people believe it was actually closer to 600. To help it go even faster, Ford made the car lighter using fiberglass for the hood, doors, fenders, and bumpers. As a result, it weighed around 3,225 pounds, which helped it speed down the quarter-mile track in about 11 seconds. Now comes the exciting part. Inside the car, everything that wasn't needed was removed. No heater, no radio, no carpets, and no fancy seats. Instead, it had simple bucket seats and a rubber floor mat. Even the windows were changed from glass to plastic to save weight. The battery was moved to the trunk to help balance the weight. This made the Thunderbolt very different from normal cars, and that's one reason why most people didn't know about it. Another cool feature was how the high-beam headlights were taken out and replaced with air ducts. These ducts pushed cool air into the engine to make it even more powerful. Drivers could pick either a 4-speed manual transmission or a 3-speed automatic. Either way, the car was built for speed, not comfort. In spite of being so fast and successful on the racetrack, the Thunderbolt didn't become a household name. One big reason is that it was not easy to drive on normal roads. It was very loud, rough, and had no features for comfort. On top of that, Ford stopped making it after just 1 year because new racing rules required 500 cars, which Ford didn't want to build. Because of its short life and low production, the 1964 Thunderbolt stayed hidden from most people. Only race fans and collectors really knew about it. Even though it won big races and helped Ford beat its rivals, it never got the same fame as other muscle cars from the 1960s. 5. 1964 Oldsmobile F85 Cutlass 442. The 1964 Oldsmobile F85 Cutlass 442 was a powerful car that most people missed. For some reason, it never became popular like other Oldsmobile cars. This unknown car had strong features, but it still stayed out of the spotlight. Even though it looked like a regular car, it was hiding something special under the hood. Here's what made it different. The 442 name stood for a 4-barrel carburetor, 4-speed manual transmission, and 2 exhaust pipes. These 3 details made it fast and exciting. Right from the factory, it came with a 330 cubic inch V8 engine. This engine had 2 choices. One version made 230 horsepower. The other version, which came with a special performance package, made 310 horsepower. That option was called the B09 package. It was hard to find because only 2,999 cars had it. Not many people knew about it at the time, which is why the cars stayed mostly hidden. With that in mind, the car's design was also smart. It had a strong frame that replaced the earlier unibody type. That made it better for everyday use. Even though it was part of the mid-size group of GM cars, it felt big and safe. The wheelbase was 115 inches, giving it a good balance and room inside. Moving forward, it was also well known for its smooth ride. One more thing stands out. The car had a 2-speed jetaway automatic as an option. It wasn't very modern because other car makers had already started using 3-speed automatics. Still, the V8 engine made up for that. The strong engine and simple layout made it easy to drive and easy to fix. Not many people noticed, but this car laid the path for future muscle cars. Today, collectors know it as a rare find. Even then, this car stayed quiet in the family stories. Quiet, but not weak. Hidden, but powerful. 6. 1964. Chevrolet Malibu SS 327. The 1964 Chevrolet Malibu SS 327 stayed in the shadows, even when it had the right tools to shine. At first, this car didn't come with the stronger 327 engine. Instead, it started with a 220 horsepower, 283 V8. That surprised many people because the smaller Chevy 2 had the same engine. The missing 327 made this car feel more like a regular car than a muscle car. That's one reason it stayed unknown in the beginning. As the year moved along, changes happened quickly. Around January, Chevrolet added the 250 and 300 horsepower versions of the 327 V8. That gave the Malibu SS more speed and strength. A few people even got the rare 365 horsepower version, but it didn't last long. Most people didn't know it was ever offered. So, while the car gained more power, the secret nature of those updates kept it quiet in the car world. From the outside, the car looked clean and simple. With squared lines, 2 doors, and Malibu SS badges on the fenders or rear sides, it looked sporty, but not too loud. The quad headlights and a thin chrome strip across the grille gave it a sharp front view. Still, it was what lay underneath the hood that mattered most. Inside, it had vinyl seats, a rear bench, and a center console when ordered with the 4-speed manual or 2-speed automatic. A set of 4 gauges showed things like water temperature and battery level. Some cars even had a tachometer, making it feel more like a real sports machine. Moving deeper into the ride, the rear axle came with a soft 3.08 ratio. That made the 0 to 60 time about 9.7 seconds, which was decent but not thrilling. The 1/4 mile time was 17.4 seconds at 80 miles per hour. It did fine, but it didn't scare any rivals. The brakes were just okay, and the power steering felt too slow, requiring almost 4 full turns to lock to lock. Fit and finish could be better, with some panels not lining up just right. Even the SS package didn't bring stiffer springs or better shocks by default. All this kept the car from standing out. With late upgrades and soft details, it stayed hidden behind louder names. 7. 1964 Pontiac Tempest Lemans. In 1964, the Pontiac Tempest Lemans with the 326 HO engine should have been a big hit, but it got lost in the noise. When Pontiac released the new GTO, which had a more powerful 389 V8, all the attention moved there. Suddenly, the Lemans HO became a car that many people forgot, even though it had strong features and good speed. To begin with, the Lemans HO came with a 326 cubic inch V8 that made 280 horsepower. It used a Carter AFB 4-barrel carburetor and needed premium fuel to run best. It also had dual exhausts and was only available with manual transmissions at first. Only 4,819 of these HO engines were made for cars with standard shift gearboxes, making it a rare model. On the other hand, over 32,000 GTOs were built that same year. So, the Lemans HO was already in the background. Now, looking at the build, this car switched to a more standard body setup in 1964. It has a body-on-frame design like other GM cars, with a solid rear axle and a front engine layout. This was different from earlier Tempests, which had a unibody and a curved drive shaft. The wheelbase was stretched to 115 inches, making it more like a mid-size car. The total length was 203 inches. Under the hood, besides the HO version, there was also a 250 horsepower version of the 326 V8 with a 2-barrel carburetor. For those who didn't want V8 power, a 215 cubic inch straight-six engine was also available. It made 140 horsepower and was based on a Chevrolet engine. Most people wanted the V8 though because it brought better performance. Now, switching gears to the transmission choices, drivers could pick a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual with a floor shifter, or a 2-speed automatic. The 4-speed option, paired with the 326 HO, gave the lemans solid acceleration and power. However, the GTO's bigger engine made it more exciting, and that's what grabbed attention at the time. Moving along to the outside, the lemans looked clean and classic, with smooth lines and just enough chrome to shine. But it didn't have the bold hood scoops or name recognition the GTO did. This made it easy for people to mistake the lemans for a regular Tempest. Even when fitted with rally wheels and dual exhausts, the car didn't stand out much. Looking inside, the lemans HO had sporty details. It came with bucket seats, a center console for manual versions, and a full set of gauges. There was also an option for a Hurst shifter. These features made it feel special, but they were hidden under a plain name. Because the GTO came out right beside it and stole the spotlight, the Tempest Lemans HO stayed unknown. Even with strong performance, rare build numbers, and clean styling, it became Pontiac's hidden muscle car. 8. 1964 Rambler American 440. The 1964 Rambler American 440 convertible is a car many people don't know about, even though it has many great things. One big reason it stayed unknown is that it was built to be simple and affordable. It didn't try to stand out too much, even though it had some smart designs and solid features. Looking first at the outside, this Rambler was painted white with shiny chrome bumpers and a soft black top that folded down by power. It had dual antennas, a mirror on the driver's side, and side moldings that made it look neat. There were also mud flaps and rocker panel trim that added a little more style. But because its shape was plain and soft compared to flashier cars, it never grabbed the spotlight. Now taking a closer look inside, the seats were covered in black and white vinyl. The front bench seat could be moved for both the driver and passenger. It also had black carpet and rubber mats. Even small things like the weather eye heater, a push-button AM radio, and a tissue dispenser gave it a nice feel. Still, the dashboard was very simple and didn't show off like other cars. This made it blend in with other models instead of standing out. Moving along to the engine, this Rambler had a 196 cubic inch inline-six. It had an electric fuel pump, and the original mechanical pump still stayed in place. It was just not used. The cylinder head had already been cleaned and fixed earlier. Also, new parts like the temperature sending unit and battery cable were added recently. But, even with all that, it was not a fast car and didn't aim to be. That quiet engine choice kept it in the background, while muscle cars took center stage. Power was sent to the rear wheels through a flash-o-matic 3-speed automatic transmission. It worked just fine for daily driving, but again, it didn't excite drivers who wanted something sporty. Because of this, people often pass it by when looking for a fun or powerful car. Next comes the suspension and wheels. The front had control arms with torsion bars, and the rear used leaf springs. It rode on 14-inch wheels with spinner hubcaps and slim white-wall tires. The tires were old from 2006, but still added to its classic look. Drum brakes were on all 4 wheels and had been cleaned and adjusted recently. These things made the ride smooth, but not thrilling. Many drivers didn't notice it because it was made to be quiet and easy, not bold and wild. The odometer showed 42,000 miles, and the inside of the car looked pretty good for its age. The speedometer went up to 120 miles per hour, but this car was made more for cruising slowly than racing fast. All these parts worked together to make the Rambler a gentle car that never tried to shine. And that's exactly why it stayed unknown. It didn't want to show off. It just wanted to be simple, steady, and smart. If you like this, hit like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more hidden classic car stories waiting to be revealed.